Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another case study. Welcome, Reese.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you for having me.
Dude, as I say with every case study, I know I say it every single time, man, but I'm super excited and pumped for this conversation because, man, what a story going from, trying to make money online a multitude of different ways. I know with your agency and stuff, which we'll dive into, but at the highlight, just for a snapshot for the guys that want to know why you're here and what we're talking about. Last month, how many commissions did you do, or how much commissions did you do in the last 30 days?
Yeah, so in August, I did $11,400 in commissions, so $114,000 cash collected for the business I work with, and then 10% commission on that. So it was a good month, the first 10K month for me. So yeah, extremely happy.
It's amazing, dude. It's amazing. And to get there was a very, very difficult journey, which we're going to dive very much into. So, man, before you met me, where did we all start? I know that obviously you mentioned we just spoke about semi-professional soccer as well, and playing that. Yeah, take us way back before you met me and what happened there.
Yeah, so I guess my story goes back before the online space as such. Okay, so from roughly November 2022, I kind of come across the whole financial literacy and I guess self-development space. And the first 12 months of this kind of space, I spent learning about financial literacy, real estate investing, increasing my income, investing in income producing assets like real estate and stuff like that. And that was where my main focus was. So I was increasing my income as much as possible with my job as a laborer. So not the funnest work. And then also playing semi-professional soccer. So I was making roughly 1,500 a week at that point in time, Australian dollars. But I was working like 60, 70 hours a week, didn't have much of a life. All my time was dedicated to I guess, working because I was paid by the hour. Then in what was it, October last year, 2023, I went to Bali. I met a few people making money online that weren't the brightest of people, and me and my mates met them on a night out. And when we
Uh,
met them, we just kind of realized, like, wow, so these people here are making money online. They're not the brightest of people. They're just like us, really. If they're doing it, why can't we do it? And the way they said to us as well, like they pretty much said to us, like, you're not making money online. Like, what the heck? It kind of was the point where I was like, well, this is normal. Like, this is something I need to do. So yeah, it was in that moment there, kind of clicked. I was like, this is what I need to do. I need to increase my income through a business online so I can live a good life while I'm young. And then also obviously follow my plan with financial literacy and building wealth and stuff like that. But taking a bit of a different route from there, come back from Bali, watched Oman Ghazi agency, all that type of stuff.
yeah.
Decided I was going to try build a digital marketing agency in web design and SEO, that type of stuff. Had no clue how to design websites, how to talk about them, what SEO was just winging it. So yeah, come back. First 4 weeks of running that business, I was doing cold calling after working like eight to 10 hours a day as a labourer. Quickly realized you can't build a business off of 2 hours of cold calling at 5 p.m. in Australia.
Yeah.
A little bit
Yeah.
hard. And then, yeah, ended up having a knee surgery about 4 weeks after getting back from Bali. That meant I had about 6 weeks of rehab where I couldn't work as a labourer. And that pretty much told me this 6 weeks here is for me to pretty much make this business work so I don't need to go back to my job.
Mm.
Within that 6 week period, I realized how much I didn't know about marketing, about sales, about websites, etc. Um, and then in that 6 week period, I pretty much just told myself, you know what, screw the job. Um, I'm just going to get all in on this online space. Then took me from for about 2 months from there. I was learning a lot of marketing, started running ads, learned all that sort of stuff, was getting inbound leads. But then my next problem come, I couldn't sell. And that's when I found the wonderful Connor Healy's YouTube channel. And I originally got into the sales call to pay Connor to be my sales mentor, not remote sales mentor. We obviously had
Mm.
our discussion. He told me I need to make the decision between either remote sales or an agency through another mentor. After our call, I felt like Connor really understood me where I was at. He built a very big gap from where I am to where I want to be. And I kind of put my trust in him. And yeah, went to the remote sales space from there.
Yeah, that's fantastic, dude. And I think a lot of people that will watch this interview will resonate with that because I think probably the most popular business model that a lot of people start out with is marketing agency. Um, I went through that same route and path, but that was just when I was 16, basically. From 16,
Yeah,
18, for 2 years, I tried to flip-flop with marketing agency. And I remember trying to taking my first sales call. It was at I mean, high school in Australia or like college. I don't really know what it's like year 11 and 12. And
yeah.
I remember it lasting for all of like 3 or 5 minutes of like some random call that I booked through cold outreach. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I was just like outside of class trying to sell them. No idea, not a clue. And I think that when you try to build an agency, when you don't know how to sell, like there's everything and all the rest of it. But like if you can't sell, it's one of the most difficult skills to master with your limited conversations you have. Because in your
Yeah.
role right now, like how many calls do you reckon you have a day?
I'm probably so with my sales process, it is a little bit different to the traditional like high ticket closer inbound leads role. So I can talk to a few more people. I'm probably having like six good conversations a day, like discovery, um, pitches, and closes, as well
Mm,
as like 20 other conversations with other people on the phone as well. So there's a lot more volume than what I could do in my own business.
right. And it's like booking calls from cold outreach as well, and all the best types of leads and all that stuff involved. Like it's a tricky process to actually get good at the skill of sales itself. So that's
Yeah,
why I recommend to most guys that are watching this, or the people that I speak to on calls and stuff, is that before you start your own business or an agency, the best thing to start out with, even if it's 1 or 2 years. Again, a lot of people that watch my channel are a lot on the younger side, even yourself. Because how old are you again? Remind me.
I'm only 21.
21. Yeah, okay, amazing. So 21, and a lot of people that I talk to are around that age range as well. And the same discussion we had on that sales call we had together, I was like, look, man, you got either 1 or 2 ways you can go. You've got the agency route, which I have someone I trust that I can tell you to go to that I know gets great results. But I know that it's going to significantly serve you if you go the sales path, even if you do it for 1 or 2 years. Ultimately, I know that, and I understand most people's goals isn't to stick with sales the rest of their life. I get that. But it is more of a vehicle to get you to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get that skill, starting a business is infinitely easier, very, very
Absolutely.
much easier. But so you came in, I told you, hey man, this is what I think you should do. You came back and you're like, all right, I think I trust this guy. He seems somewhat trustworthy. I'm gonna work with him. You came in. What was the next step from there? What was the yeah? What happened after that?
Um, from that point there, obviously came in. I think he put a big emphasis when I come on board about the community and making sure we are active in the community, which served me well from a place of confidence in the program. Once I come in, could see Ben Payne, Rahul, people that were doing well around that time. I could see their posts, I could see the wins. There was straight away a lot of belief instilled into myself that I'd made the right decision. And then from there, just started grinding away at the modules, started getting on networking calls, connecting with as many people as possible, and actually implementing and taking action on what I was told to do. A guy called William Brown, I don't know if many people watching this would know him. I know you do, Connor.
Hmm.
I've listened to a few of his podcasts, and he says what he attributes a lot of his success to is just finding someone who's ahead of him, paying them, and just listening to exactly what they say to do, which is the mindset I had coming into this with Connor, and it set me up for success massively. Just taking action on his advice and what has worked for other people inside the program as well. So yeah,
Mm.
just
I think that's an important point, man, because what I see with a lot of young guys that really sets them back uh, months, years to where they could have been is having an ego. And I think
yeah,
having an ego is important, and you should have that to really rise to your goals and want to be successful. But if there's someone who's a proof of concept, okay, someone like myself, who, especially beyond paying me inside the training is only going to tell you things that are going to put you towards results. I have no incentive to otherwise do that.
Yep.
It's probably best to trust that person. And I found historically in the past, if I've gone and invested in a training and a mentor and I've done exactly the opposite what I've thought they've said, I haven't got any results. Whereas if I pay them, I know that they're proof of concept, they've achieved what I want to do. I just follow exactly what I tell them, what they tell me to do step by step. And I always find that I get way better results doing it that way, significantly.
Yep. Yep. And it's the same as well when you jump on an offer as well. If you have a sales manager or you have a sales rep that's ahead of you, losing the ego once again and just like asking questions, listening to what they say, it's going to help you with success on an offer as well as in the remote sales space as a whole.
Big time. And so started to do the training, you're following it step by step. Tell us about the first role you got, what it was like networking and your experience with that.
Yep. So the first role I got, so I come in just wanting a role, just ready to just grab at anything. The first
Yeah.
role I got was doing cold DM outreach for a content agency. I did it for about 2 days, sending voice messages to coaches and consultants on Instagram. Quickly realized I'm not going to make much money doing this. Asked Connor what he thought about it. Obviously, he gave me his opinion, which was find a new offer. Um, Listened to it blindly as well. Told him I'm not going to be working for him anymore. Kept networking, kept having conversations. I think it was about a 4 week period I actually networked for. Okay, and I had that offer in the meantime. Got offered with like 2 day period. I think about fourth week, fifth week from networking and from my connection with you, I ended up with 4 interviews with 4 solid companies as well. Um, two two hybrid like closing and setting roles and 2 just setting roles. Had 4 interviews. Failed the first one. I went on to a coaching call the next day after that. I remember I asked a question to you, which actually embarrassed the crap out of me, but you gave me the answer I needed to hear. I don't know if you remember it. And then
No,
the next 3 interviews, yeah. So
remind
the way
me.
you said it, I think I told him my experience with the agency, exactly how it happened, exactly how I was struggling with sales and stuff like that on an interview for a sales role. And then I said that to you, and you were just like, you told them that on the interview. Um, Bit embarrassing for me.
Yeah.
But then the next 3 interviews I went to obviously didn't say the same thing. Instilled confidence in the offer owners. Applied it. Was successful to the next 3 interviews, and then I ended up choosing to go with a TikTok marketing agency offer. And then yeah, that's kind of where kind of the networking got me to, and it got me to my first role, and then we went from there.
And so you're getting focused on, the TikTok agency. And I think we spoke about at the time, you had 4 really good offers on the table in front of you within about a 4 to 5 week period. And for reference, by the way, for those of you who don't know, maybe you don't know, Reese, it took me 8 months to get my first role. So that's amazing to hear. And I'm really glad to hear that. I'm super, super happy. And so you've got some great offers on the table. And I remember the discussion we had. You said that, potentially I might want to start my own business or an agency in the future specifically. And I think this is going to be the best fit because I may not be earning a great deal of money from the company, but I know that I'm going to learn by proximity of the
Mm-hmm.
systems, the operations they have inside the business. So, what was your experience with that? Because I think a lot of younger guys that watch the channel would like to understand the value of, because people think they're taking a step back when they go and work for another business in sales, right? What would you say your perspective has been after being in like a very successful agency business and what that looks like? What are the types of things that you learn? Like, where do you think you got a lot of value from that?
Yeah. And this is something I did want to touch on today as well. So when we first spoke on, obviously I come into this wanting to learn the skill of sales. Okay. I
Mm.
didn't realize how much I didn't know about business systems, leadership, operations, etc. When you work inside of these businesses, yes, you get to learn the skill of sales and I guess become competent at that. But I think more importantly as well, you get to see the mindset of a 7 to 8 figure business owner, how they view the world, how they view themselves, how they communicate with people. You then also get to see the systems, the operations, that marketing, the fulfillment. how to communicate to people, how to influence people. So it's more than just sales I was doing inside this business. I was learning this whole agency from lead all the way to happy client, exactly what that looked like from a fulfillment perspective as well. Um, so yeah, I guess the value, like, yes, I got good at sales in that offer, but the value I was able to get from I guess, a whole perspective was, yeah, it would cost me how much money to get that advice from someone, and I got it for
Mm.
free and got paid for it.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. And it's like it's such a great way to take advantage of learning the skill of sales, but also learning what an actual successful business looks like by proximity, by being within it. Because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people look at because I've to like build the business I have today with the RSA, technically I've done zero coaching programs, zero mentorships, right? To actually get to that point, like to build what I have, it's exactly that. But the reason why I've been able to do these things is because I sold for business coaches for years, right? I got to see how they thought, their strategies, everything that looked like on the back of their paid training programs, $10,000 to $30,000 training programs. And I learned so much that business became pretty straightforward and easy for me because I just learned these skills by proximity, which for a lot of you that are listening, the reason I think high ticket sales is so fantastic is that yes, you learn the skill of sales, which is the core foundation of every business. But you can learn exactly what emails are sent, the show up sequences. You can see the leadership that takes place. You can see how they build a team, how everything's structured on the back end, the operations, the fulfillment. You can see everything.
Yeah,
And if you were just to start your business from the get-go without doing that previously, there's a lot of years of mistakes that you could make along the way that you could have just learned by working in an already successful business that's doing exactly what you want to do.
yeah, spot on. And with my own, like that, what you just said there is exactly spot on, because with my own business, okay, I didn't know what sales funnels were. I didn't know what a VSL was. I didn't know what a CRM was. I didn't know what Facebook ads were. I didn't know you could run ads. I didn't know any of this stuff at all. I had to make mistakes to learn them. I had to sit on like a 30-day course by Russell Brunson to learn what a sales funnel was. Um, all this stuff took me so much more time and so much more mistakes to get access to and understand. For someone who just entered the remote sales, they go into a successful business by proximity. They are learning what a sales funnel is. They're learning what Facebook ads are, what ROAS means, what cost per acquisition means, all these business terms, just because they're in the right environment.
Yeah, it's massive. And so you're working in this business, not primarily to earn a lot of money, but it was just to learn by proximity. And so you decided you wanted to do something different. You wanted to make some money finally, and you wanted to move towards that. What was that time period of where you started the training RSA and then you were looking to get an offer that's actually going to make you money? Do you remember how long that was from start till that point? Was it around
Yes.
5 months, 4 months?
I think 4 months. So it's like day 116-ish of my documenting. So that's how I keep track. Yeah, it was about 4 months. So I was on that other offer for a couple months, the first one for a couple months.
Mhm.
Learned what I need to learn. Kind of wasn't making the money I wanted to start making at that point in time. Um, whilst I was on that offer and aware that I wanted to transition, just started, doing the networking, looking out for other offers and stuff like that. Found an offer which aligned with, I guess, where I want to be financially. Had the interview for that, landed the role, and then pretty much from there, started making the money I wanted to make.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that was around like the 5 or 6 month period, right?
Yeah, it was the fifth month. I made $5,000, which $5,000 online is not a lot to some people, but for a beginner, like, it opens your mindset to what's possible. And then the sixth
Mm.
month, which was the month just gone, I do believe, obviously, yeah, the 11,400.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty smack bang on the 6 months to a year time frame I talk about all the time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I honestly see that with all the case studies in the channel. It's very specific to that time frame because, if you put in the work and you're actually showing up every day, every week, every month, and you're asking questions, 6 months to a year is a very realistic time frame to hit 10K a month. in high ticket sales. Like if you really want this, for the guys that are listening, I talk about it all the time, but you know, as I've said on coaching calls, I've kind of joked about it. Like, would you be super upset that if you started working with me, you're in the training program and you got to 10K a month within 6 months to a year? Everybody said no, of course, I'd be super stoked, right? It's yes, it's not the 30, 60, 90 day stuff that you're marketed to, but that's not the reality of things. If
Yep.
you really commit to this skill and you show up and you put in the effort, the proof is in the pudding, right? You will get the results you're looking for. It's just a matter of time. And the reason that 6 months to a year time frame is there is because I know through experience, through teaching it and living it, you're going to make mistakes in that first 6 month period. You're going to take the wrong offers. There's a lot of stuff to learn. There's a lot of skills training you have to do. All that stuff
Yep.
just takes time. And look, is it possible that you get it in the next 30, 60, 90 days? Sure. But that's probably going to be about 1% of you, if that, right? It's definitely got a little bit of luck involved if you are doing those type of things. And so that's why I think we get such great results with people because we have the right expectations. Because when we spoke about it, you knew coming in this was going to take a while. This wasn't going to happen overnight.
Yep.
Although even during that period, though, like, oh, yeah, I wish this was happening faster. Even though
Of
that you know
course.
it's going to take 6 months to a year. Because I remember watching your videos on your YouTube channel, which we'll talk about that in a second. Um, I was watching some of your shorts, and you're like, yeah, fuck, man, this offer's not very good, or I'm not, not a good day or whatever, and so on. It's like I wish this was going faster a couple times. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, as long as you have at the back of your mind, it's going to take 6 months to a year, you do extremely well because you can expand your time horizon a bit more.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you obviously, I'm aware with everyone that comes in, you let us know this does take hard work. This does take time. Okay. And I was fully committed to that and understanding of that. Obviously, yes, throughout this 6 month journey, there have been days and moments in time where I've gone, I would like this to happen now, and it does
Yeah,
need to happen now. And obviously, the desire is there because I'm a pretty driven individual. I have big goals and big things I want to achieve. So naturally, I was chasing that thing I want, and kind of just felt like it was running away from me. But yeah, it does take time. But now it's been 6 months. Like you said, I'm not too upset that it has taken 6 months to hit 10K a month.
it's a pretty big financial milestone for most people, which is amazing. And so this is also incredibly special because I'm going to be popping a YouTube channel down in the description for those that want to check out because this is the first time I've seen this happen. Reese has documented his entire experience going from zero to where he is now in high ticket sales on the YouTube channel. You can see every single day he's posted a YouTube short. He's posted YouTube videos documenting the process. This is by far the best example. If you do not believe making money online is real, if you don't believe it is possible, you can literally go see it for yourself. You can see Reese posting every single day, documenting his problems, his challenges. There is no more proof that you can get other than that. And I'm super happy that you documented the process because if you want to start a business that's related to that in the future, then that's amazing. But really, it is a true documentation from someone going from complete scratch, absolute zero, to where you are now, which is super amazing thing. Because I messaged you and I'd always just see your reels posting stuff, and I would just message you like, keep going, man. Like you're doing great stuff. Like you're doing really,
Yeah,
really well. Um, and yeah, man, it's just super inspiring because you can see from the very start to where you are now, which is super awesome to see.
yeah, exactly. And I think obviously the idea come from obviously Imad Ghazi and his documenting of his journey and what's that enabled him to build.
Mm,
Which I was obviously a little bit young to watch him come up on his journey. So that
mm,
kind of inspired me to do the same thing. Obviously, with what I'm doing and documenting it, yes, I do want to build a following to then create a business in the future. And obviously, documenting it creates that proof for me to then do that. But yeah, it's
mm.
also there to, I guess, validate and prove that it is possible. I literally documented from day one. I'd made about $1,000 online at that point with my agency from the first day I entered in remote sales to now day 200 and something, and I'm at 11.4 thousand.
Yeah, which is unreal. And there's very few cases you can find from documentation from ground zero to where you're at now. So for those of you that want to check that out, I'm going to pop Reese's channel in the description so you can have a look for yourself. Because the proof really is there in the pudding. You can see him going from complete beginner, no idea what's going on, what's networking, this, all that type of stuff, to where you are now. So yeah, it's a really cool transformation to experience and see myself because I wish I documented more from when I first started. I've only got a few videos that I might post on the channel in the future. I've posted some of them of me talking about got my first role, I've got an interview,
Yeah,
I'm doing appointment
yeah,
setting, I'm doing closing, like this is all that type of stuff. And they're just really cool videos to look back at. And I think a year, 2, 3 years from now, I think you really appreciate the documentation, regardless of the business you start in the future.
yeah, yeah, and that's a good way to look at it as well. And it's only been recently where I've been looking back at some of the stuff I was posting, because I just made a video for my YouTube channel, like talking about the 100th to the 200th day in remote sales, and I was looking back at the reels from 90 days ago, 100 days ago. Obviously, time goes on, you forget what happens. But watching them reels back, it was pretty good because there were some tough days in there that I was, didn't get some deals across the line, didn't make the money I was wanting to make. And now only 90 days later from that point, I'm pretty fulfilled in what I've achieved. So it is good to look back, see the hard times as such,
Mm,
and then reflect on it.
yeah. And so, man, it's a super exciting future for you because actually no, before we go about all the exciting stuff, I want to talk about uh I think a topic that we've talked about in the channel a little bit in this case, those interviews, which is the whole isolation aspect of getting into making money online and how difficult that is. Because I know you've
Yeah.
experienced that just as everybody else does, just as I have. Man, what has your experience been like? Because I know that a lot of people that watch the channel, they want to make money online. They haven't figured it out yet. They don't have people around them that encourage and support that. Most likely, you don't even know anyone that has actually made money online. So it seems so far away and out of reach. What's your experience going through that? What was it like trying to make money online with your agency, getting into high ticket sales? Like, what was that actually like doing that? And yeah.
Yeah. Um, so my answer is going to stem back to actually when I started learning the financial literacy stuff. Okay, so for some context, I come from a very normal family, middle class, Australia, suburbia. I went to a private school, but my family grew up working their butts off to make an income. Dad does 12-hour days as a truck driver. Mum's kind of grown in the corporate ladder, but very traditional. Buy a house, pay the mortgage off, got car loans, etc. So when I started learning the financial literacy stuff, which prior to that I had zero knowledge of at all, it kind of gave me a mindset shift on understanding how to build wealth and what you actually should do with your money. So when I started learning that stuff, I was trying to educate my parents on what I was learning as well. And as you can imagine, my parents have been doing what they've been doing for 20 years, working their asses off for us to provide a good opportunity for us in life. Then they have
Mm.
their 19, 20-year-old son saying, well, you shouldn't do this, you should do that.
Yeah.
So obviously there was a little bit of a clash there for a period of time. And I ended up just stop having the conversation with them. And then once I actually got into the online space, um, obviously then it was kind of happened again, like with doing cold calling, not having much success with the business, not making much money, like not parents saying I told you so, but kind of that there lingering in the background, not having someone to go to kind of have that support and belief in myself that I could make it work. And then when I entered the remote sales space, I think I've got a short as well, like 18 days in. I was sitting outside at my pool on like a Saturday, I think it was. I'd mentioned in the short, my mum had just said I'm in a pyramid scheme or multi level marketing. It was something like that. And she thought I'd been scammed. Um, so yeah, it was kind of those moments there. And then as the journey went on as well, and I wasn't making the money I wanted to make, or getting the outcomes I was looking for as such, obviously more comments happened, and there was some stuff said behind my back to my brother about my journey and stuff like that. So I think it was at that point there I even messaged you just saying like the more I learn
Mm,
and the more I grow as an individual in this space, the more I'm growing further apart from people in my life that obviously I'm doing this for. Because the whole reason I'm doing this is to build wealth so I can give a good life to my family and the people have sacrificed for me. And I felt like I was
mm,
growing apart the more time went on. And you said to me in a loom you sent over, this is normal. This is a universal thing that happens to pretty much everyone in the online space. And when I heard that, it just gave me a lot of comfort and clarity because I just had a pretty big argument with my parents before that. And when you said that, it was kind of a relieving feeling like this is normal. This happens. You know, this isolation is a part of everyone's story, which means it's just part of my path to success, really. And they'll understand one day why I'm doing this and why I'm going through all of this. And it's obviously for them in the end.
yeah, no, I love that. And thanks for sharing your experience with that because I think a lot of people that watch the channel have gone through that or are going through that right now. Um, I resonate with that highly because, man, that first 1, 2, 3, 4 years is one of the most difficult years you'll go through because especially when the proof isn't in the pudding and you haven't actually done it yet, you have a vision that you want to achieve, but it just hasn't actualized yet. It's really difficult to convince people. And that's why I recommend a lot of the guys inside the training is just don't talk to your friends about it. Don't talk to your parents about it. Don't talk to really anyone about it, um, even until you get results. A lot of the times, I'm very almost mysterious with the way I communicate what I do for a living when people ask nowadays. I don't want to say I'm a business owner because that sounds very wanky, right? So I don't really say that very much. I'll just say like I work in hospitality, something, right? Work like a bar job, something that's super simple, easy to explain, because it opens a can of worms that I just don't even want to talk about anymore. And to
Mm-hmm.
try and even explain, like people wouldn't believe you. They just wouldn't believe you. Like it's a crazy concept to understand. You can work 6 to 8 hours a day. You make a couple $100 or $1,000 per phone call, which sometimes is someone's weekly wage. And you can travel the world while doing so. It's an insane concept for people to understand.
It's funny you say that. So I just sold my car yesterday. I
Mm,
was going for a test drive with the person purchasing the car. I told him while I was selling it, I'm heading overseas to Vietnam and Southeast Asia for a few months, and I don't need a car, believe it or not, in Southeast Asia. And I told him obviously I'm booking a one way ticket, and kind of living over there. And he asked how I was doing that, and I was like, oh, well, I make money online, like I work from a laptop. And his exact words were, oh, is that actually real? Is it? Okay, so he couldn't comprehend
mm,
that making money online was a real thing. Okay, so
yeah.
yeah, it's not real to some people. And then as well, like I've had two pretty big days in this space where I've made like $2,200 in one day and then $2,900  4 days later.
Mm,
Saying that to my parents who their whole life have had to work a whole week to make that type of money, or close to that type of money, kind of mind boggling to them as well. They're going, what the fuck? So yeah.
yeah. Are you scamming people? Are you doing something wrong? Are you dealing drugs? Yeah, I've definitely got those comments throughout the years. And you'll find that you will eventually find your tribe and the people that you enjoy hanging out with. And that's why I convey such an importance in the community inside the RSA, because you can have people who are doing the same thing as you and they're on their way to achieving it or at your same level. So you can travel the world and do these type of things with these different types of people who are online. Because the people that I've met that are really close friends of mine now were through random circumstances. They weren't really through communities. And I'm at a 7 day in-person mastermind here in Marbella with a bunch of coaches that are all playing at a really high level. It's like 20 of us, something like that. Super crazy. And I was super exhausted yesterday, but the conversations were completely effortless because we all have similar and say businesses. We all have the same problems. We all have had the same experiences of making money online and doing these types of things. And we all get along extremely well. And my hope for you and my hope for really everybody that wants to make money online is to have that community or have that support in that aspect because that is something I had such little of. when I first started out. Like I was in a group of hundreds of people uh, in a coaching program when I first started out, and I was pretty much isolated for like 1 to 2 years. Like barely anybody was as serious as I was, but also just yeah, just wasn't as committed, and I was very isolated. It's not like I could meet up with anybody. I was in Tasmania, of all places. Obviously, barely anyone makes money online there that I know. I do know a few guys now, but I can count probably two others that I know in Tasmania that are like, or maybe like three that are actually like doing big things. Um,
Hmm.
but outside of that, there is like pretty much next to nothing. So yeah, having that tribe and having people around you that do the same stuff as you is so, 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 so important. Because when you have those hard days, not only is it important that you can lean on me, but how valuable have you found it that you've connected with guys in the community all over the world and like the community as a whole?
Massive, absolutely massive, because we're going through the same experience together. So probably the two people I've been closest with in the RSA is Bao, Mr. Welcome to Life, uh, and and Brady as well. So we've been
Mm,
on a similar journey, and just having them in proximity. Brady messaged me before this call, just saying how he can't close a deal right now as well. So obviously he's messaging me when times are hard. I can obviously offer him some support. Bao,
mm,
same as well. We did role plays together. We jumped on networking calls together multiple times to help each other. So having those people in your proximity to help you kind of get through the harder days and get to your goals is massive. As well as that, so I'm in Adelaide. Okay, there's not too many people here making money online as well. I'm
no.
actually very in a unique situation though, where um my two close mates are trying to do the same thing as me with different business models, and then I have two people in my soccer team as well who are actually in crypto trading and dropshipping as well, who do make money online. So being able to have
Fantastic.
those conversations with them as well, and they actually have some success and they're making money with it, is awesome, because it just kind of puts proof of concept in your mind that is a real human in person, not just some scary person like Connor on the internet. This person is real. He's making money online. If he can do it, he's a human. I'm a human. I can do it as well.
Big time. And I've spoken to some guys about how many beliefs it changes when you meet someone in person, you shake someone's hand in person who makes money online. Um, because when you start out, it's such a foreign concept to you. Especially if nobody's done that you know. Like it's such a difficult thing. And it's crazy to, be in this in-person mastermind here for the next 7 days, where pretty much everyone here makes 7 figures a year or more, right? Which is crazy to conceptualize and think about. I think the head guy that runs it does a few $100,000 a month. And, for most people listening, that might sound insane because it absolutely is. But when you get surrounded by that and you get exposed to people who are actually real and doing this, man, it makes such a significant change in your mindset. And I believe that a lot of the 0 to 10K a month range is very much to do with your beliefs. And if
Yeah,
you can work on that, you're going to get there eventually. Because the only thing that's standing between you and actually getting to the result you want is just time. And the thing that will allow you to do the stuff you need to do for a period duration of time is your belief systems. And
mm-hmm.
everything you're fighting against when you're starting out, your parents, your close family, your friends, they don't understand it, they don't get it, they feel like you're in a scam or an MLM. I've talked about the brief story of when I was working in Bunnings, where I told some guy I used to work with just briefly a little bit about what I was doing. And then another coworker came along and passed and said a slight comment of like, how's your MLM and your pyramid scheme going? Right. Just like it's such a difficult process and everything's fighting against you to not make it and not do it. But in my belief, it's just tests, test after test after test of how bad you actually want to do it. How bad do you want freedom? How bad do you want to be able to travel the world? How bad do you want to create a successful life for yourself and your family? It's just every problem and challenge you encounter, every bad day you have, If you just view it as a test, that's all that
Hmm.
matters, and you'll be able to
Yeah,
overcome it. And so
yeah.
you are now making a lot of money online. How's life changed? What's different for you?
Um, well, I was right. My parents are wrong, first of all. That was the no, I shouldn't say that. Don't watch this.
That's hilarious.
No, from a immediate right now in my environment, yes, that has actually changed. The relationship with my parents is actually pretty solid again. They're kind of going, "Wow, you were right. We always knew it was going to just take time and it would click." So that side of that stuff there is a lot better in myself as well. Very fulfilled and proud of myself over the last 6 months. But then from a lifestyle perspective, and what it's unlocked for me, like I mentioned earlier briefly, I think on the 13th, so it's the 2nd of September now, on the 13th, I'm booking a one-way flight to Da Nang in Vietnam as per Connor's advice. And then I will be traveling throughout Southeast Asia for a few months whilst I'm in the off season of my soccer season. So I'll be planning on going to Thailand, Bangkok. Benji's in Bangkok. We've been talking lately, so I'm going to go see him. And then there's also Bali as well, which I would like to go visit my favorite place, Finn's Beach Club. Um, and then just get to enjoy life, get to travel, get to be around good people, people making money online, people who are wanting to achieve big things and think bigger than the social norms of 9 to 5 mortgage. The good days we're back in school, have fun. So yeah, I'm just very lucky because I get to be where I want around good people, making good money, and on the path I want to be on.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting, man. You're a full digital nomad now. You're a full high
Exactly.
tier closer, as I was saying in the Instagram DMs. I just don't like using that. I like high ticket sales, but like high tier closer is such a cringe term nowadays. It's definitely overused, and it's definitely associated with the wrong thoughts, perspectives, and opinions on.
Remote sales professional, be more elegant.
Yeah, yeah, I guess yeah, a bit more of a career term as opposed to being a high tier closer, but that's a whole nother thing for another video, I suppose. But that's cool. And so you're not even planning to come back till December, yeah?
Yes, probably mid-December, just before Christmas, so my mum doesn't cry that I'm not home. But yeah, I'll be over for 2.5 months, 3 months, and then mid-December come back for Christmas. I'm possibly looking at maybe going to Bali for New Year's Eve as well, and then come back after that. Um, yeah, good 3 months of traveling and freedom and living the life which I've kind of envisioned and had in my mind for the last 11, 10 months really since I got back, or since I was in Bali, and that conversation I had with those two ladies who made me realize anyone can make money online. So yeah, that vision I've had stuck in my mind for that period of time is what I get to do for the next 3 months until mid-December, which is pretty exciting.
That's amazing, man. And it won't feel real for a while. Even, the fact that you've hit like, 11K in a month, it just won't catch up to you until a couple of months later. And you won't realize what you've done. Like you're excited about it now. You're like, wow, this is amazing. But it won't like actually fully click and integrate until like a couple of months later. Um, it's happened to me at every single different level and threshold of income. It only really clicks and you realize what's going on like months later. Because I remember a couple of years ago when I was making 25K a month, working in Bali, and I was just at this, I can't remember where it was, but it was somewhere towards um what's that side of the island? Uluwatu or Ubud
Hmm.
or like that side,
Yeah.
and that was like a really nice surf spot. And I was sitting with my friend on a laptop, creating a sales course that a person that I was working for paid me 5K to build for his clients. And I was just sitting there at the pool and I was like, holy shit. I was like, I'm living. I'm living the thing that I built so many years ago. Like I've actually got everything that I want now. And it's a crazy realization. I was just kind of like having a midlife crisis at the pool. I'm just like, oh my God. I was like, wow, I'm doing the thing. Like I'm traveling, I'm making money online, doing that type of stuff. And we get such in the heat of the moment because we've worked so hard to get to where we've gotten. And we kind of only realized a couple of months later that we've actually really realized and actualized like all the dreams we had. So it'll be
Yeah.
cool. You can tell me when you have that moment when you're traveling.
Yeah. And now that you've said that, like I know I mentioned before, I'm pretty fulfilled in what I have achieved. But I don't think I've actually had that moment and sat in it and just actually properly look back and realize what I have achieved, and haven't felt that emotion tied to that yet. So maybe that might come whilst I'm sitting on a beach in Da Nang. Who knows?
It probably will. It'll wash over you, and you'll be like, "Holy shit, I'm living the dream." It'll be crazy. And I'm keen to hear back when that happens. And so life's different now. You can travel. You've got the freedom and flexibility to do so, and you've got a skill that will serve you the rest of your life. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit longer to get really firm and good at it, but you're starting to get the understanding of things. Obviously, I've heard your call recordings in the coaching calls, so you're getting better by the week and the month. And so, what would you say would be your biggest learnings over the last 6 months? Like, what do you feel like are the biggest things that move the needle forward for you?
From a sales perspective, directly.
Yeah, overall career,
It's a good
maybe.
question. Okay, overall career in remote sales, offer is the most important thing. Most important thing is the offer. Okay, I could have the same sales skills as I have with the first offer. I guess to put this into context, I had pretty similar sales skills, similar understanding of what I do now. I was making not much on that offer, to put it nicely. Okay. Second, I changed offer, income increased just purely because of the offer. So the highest leverage you probably have as a remote sales rep is the offer you're on. Then from, I guess, my learnings as such in a sales aspect, um, it's a good question. I would just, once I started viewing sales as here's someone's problem, okay, this is you, this is them. You need to get yourself on their side and work towards the problem with them. That's kind of when things started to click a little bit more and I started making the money I wanted to. Because previously I kind of had an agenda on the calls, kind of trying to point them towards me getting commission, didn't really care if they solved their problem, etc. Once I kind of started getting on their side, serving them, helping them realize their current reality, the impact of the problems, where they want to be, the emotion tied to it, the gap, consequence of inaction. That's when things really started to, when I started making the money I wanted to make.
So moving from I want to make a sale to collaboration.
Correct. And also on that, detachment from the outcome. And I know you speak about this on the coaching calls a lot. It's hard to be detached when you need the money because it's going to pay
Yes.
your rent for that week,
Mm,
especially with objection handling as well. So when someone's generally asking me questions around the product and stuff in the objection handling phase, I don't know if they're really objections. When I'm more detached from the outcome, just answering very casually, pretty much I get the sale every single time. When I was attached, kind of, speaking out of my chest, really like straight back to them, trying to be as sharp as possible and stuff, that's when they kind of get weirded out and lose a sale. I would lose a sale. So, yeah,
mm.
detachment from the outcome as well has definitely helped me and made me a bit more money.
Yeah, no, great learnings for sure. And I think a lot of beginners will find that helpful. Um, and even the thing you said about as well, like offer over skills, man, man, it's like a thing I talk about all the time in the channel. I talk about all the time inside the community. Yet it takes experience to believe me, because everywhere, like I've seen guys who are, some of the most successful clients in RSA, they still get psyoped into the idea that sales training is gonna move the needle forward. Yeah, it will. Like you will make more money by getting better at sales. That's the whole career of it. But it's like it took me 4 years full time doing this to really understand and navigate the industry of high ticket sales, and that was the conclusion I came to. It's like if you're on a good offer, you can make double, triple, quadruple what other people can make. Like it's
Yep.
literally just that. Like one good offer can completely change your life. One
Mm-hmm.
conversation, one relationship, one interview, one offer, it can completely change your life. You can make six figures, multi six figures. And a lot of people think that you have to go and spend ridiculous amounts of money on sales training. I think it's helpful. I think it's efficient. I think it helps you get better. But where the biggest needle move is going to happen is by far and beyond actual experience working with people who are actually good at what they do. And you can get that from working on a good offer, a good account, a good business. Someone's making 40K a month on an offer that you're working on. You now have proof of concept. You can see their calls, how they sell, how they operate. You can do everything to replicate exactly what they're doing because they're doing it. So why can't you? I think a lot of people end up wasting a lot of money on sales training, just as I did, because yeah, it was helpful, but I probably could have spent about half of that and probably gotten the value that I needed because past a certain point of sales, in my opinion, it's just one percenters. It really is. Once you've done hundreds and thousands of hours at it, it's just small little one percenters that are just going to be a little bit better. And usually,
Mhm.
yeah, a coach is going to help you, but to save you an extra 10, 15, 20 grand, you don't really have to do it if you don't want to. You will get better at sales with time. And if you have someone who can learn from by proximity, who is good at what they do and already making the money you want to make on the business, uh, it's just a super simple process that people can follow because people like to overcomplicate things. That's inclusive of myself, by the way. So you're traveling. That's fantastic. Those are the biggest learnings. What's your goal from here? You've obviously got to the end of the year.
Yep.
What are the next steps? What are the big goals for Reese?
Yeah. The next goal is $15,000 for the month in commissions, so 150K cash collected. I want to do that by what we've set is I've got to hit 20K by my 22nd birthday, so that's in about 4 months now.
Beautiful.
But beyond that, though, over the next 12 months, I do want to transition into a sales management role, have my own team working under me. Obviously, that allows me to increase my income once again and make more and more money, which I don't mind doing. But why I actually want to do that is the skill of leadership, of helping people, coaching people, etc. So I've had someone on my team right now, Brody, who's my sales manager, who's about to help me massively, enormously in this space. I want to then become that person to help 500 lads under me transition to make the money they want to make as well. So that's kind of my plan for over the next 12 months, and then keep documenting the YouTube channel throughout that period. Keep building an organic following that has complete evidence that I'm legit and exactly what I'm saying I've done because I've documented the whole journey. And then yeah, probably over the next 12 months, once the inner work is done, kind of build those skills that I need to transition out of being a remote sales rep and a remote sales manager. I would then like to use my YouTube channel to go into my own business from that point there over the next 12 months.
Yeah, that's a beautiful timeline. And for example, like Kashi wants to start his own business at some point as well, as most of the guys do that are crushing it. And I was listening to one of his sales calls a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, "Yep, if you want to do it by the end of the year, man, you are perfectly ready. You're at the level where you can do so. Like you're at the competency where you can do that." Um, and I mean, there's never a point where you're going to be ready as such. I was
Yeah.
never ready to start my own business, uh, but it's honestly hard to tell. I'll probably listen to one of your calls and I'll be like, yeah, yeah, you're at the point where you get it. Even hearing to your objection handling the other day, I'm like, okay, yeah, you've got a good structural understanding of what's going on. So you're at a good point, and within 6 months to a year, you could definitely be at that point where you're ready to make that transition, and then you watch your income go up
Bang.
and exponentially grow, which is how it happens.
I'll,
And
I'll,
so
I'll be in Marbella with you soon, mate.
absolutely, absolutely. It's expensive here, apparently. Especially this villa. It's insane. But yeah, man. So what would you say would be your feedback for me, as far as like the RSA goes? What was your experience like? How's it working with me, the team, everyone else involved? Like, yeah,
Yeah. The expectations that were set, on our first call that we had and our second call, exactly what you said would happen was reality. Okay, so firstly, expectations were aligned. Okay, and exactly what you told me would happen has happened. And then what I would say, everything you told me to do, and all the information the other boys used works. The networking works, the interview works, the sales skills works, the mindset stuff works. All this stuff works. Okay, so from a feedback perspective, well done. Okay, it's worked very well for me directly. And then yeah, as well, the coaching side of stuff, which I probably have found has been the best, I guess, or biggest needle mover from me and the most value I've gotten out of this. Jordan, obviously the mindset coach. Recently, I've kind of started learning the mindset side of stuff and listening to a book called Psycho Cybernetics. Been going to the mindset calls. That's been a massive needle mover for me, and a lot of my success last month hitting 11.4K was literally just mindset shifts and overcoming some limiting beliefs that I didn't know were there. So
Mm.
Jordan helped me do that as well. And then yeah, the coaching calls as well, just the boys having a laugh, asking questions, which obviously maybe I needed help with at the start, which I was too scared to ask, or vice versa. Just been a massive help for me in kind of navigating this space, which I can imagine is so confusing for someone who doesn't have the clarity that you offer. And yeah, it's gotten to me to those goals that I think I first spoke about with you on our first sales call or our first call.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. I'm super happy to hear that. And from the outside looking in, from someone who's not in there, like how would you describe the structure of the training, the layout, everything that's involved, especially 2.0 as well? That's obviously very updated and very new. How would you describe that to someone who isn't in there?
How to describe it? What I would say is it's exactly what you need. Okay. Before coming in, you might have your own limiting beliefs like, is this for me? Can I do it? Etc. It's not your job to know what to do. Okay, that's Connor's job, and he's laid everything out in the program, in the modules. It's all there for you to come in, as long as you're someone who's willing to put in the effort, take action, and actually implement on your goals and where you want to be, rather than say you want to do it. If you implement on what he's put in there, and you become the person, obviously, that you want to become, it will work. It's worked for me. It's worked for how many interview case studies do you have now? I don't know, a fair few. It's worked for how many of us? So it's all mapped out and laid out for you to just come in, take action, have blind faith in Connor, and just trust the process, and it will work.
Fantastic. Great description. And so for someone who's sitting on the fence right now, you know, shout out to the guy of what was it? What was it? What was the joke? Mr. Leave It With Me. Um, maybe he's watching. Maybe he'll buy after this. Who knows? But for someone who's sitting on the fence, right, who's thinking about if making money online is possible, if it's real, if they should do high ticket sales, if they should work with me, what would you say to someone who's sitting on the fence and who's sort of unsure?
Um, I like to think consequences move people and they build urgency. What I
Mm,
would say is, what happens if you don't do this? Okay, and you just keep doing what you've been doing. Like, I think if you imagine what life looks like, then if you're in a like I was in a labor job, if you're working a job you don't enjoy, can imagine yourself 2 3 years down the line on what's going to happen if you don't do something like this. Okay, so what I would say is think about that, and then think about if you do jump to this, what will happen then? What can you do? You could live the same life as me. You can go travel. You can be around good people. You can talk to high level people like Connor, like other people in the RSA, and your life can change for the better if you do make that jump. Whereas if you just stay where you are, stay scared, stay leaving it with me, you're going to be stuck in that same cycle and yeah, maybe not aligned with where your goals are and who you want to be in the future.
yeah. And obviously, you know, you heard it from Reese, but if I was going to add to that, if I got started earlier, man, who knows where I would be. Now, of course, I only started and I was fully committed and serious in doing this when I was about 18, 19. Obviously, that's probably, you can't really go much younger than that. Um, but, you know, I know guys that started when they were 12, right? Which is an insane thing, which is a story for another day. But um, the sooner that you start this, if this is what you really want to do, uh, better, because it's going to take time. And the longer you delay this, the longer that you prolong this, if this is something that you seriously want to do, it's only going to get harder. It's only going to get more difficult, and it's going to become more sophisticated. It's going to become more competitive, right? The space as compared to what it was for making money online 6, 7 years ago is completely different now. It's very easy back then. It's not as easy as it was before. And so the sooner that you do this, take it from Reese, take it from myself, the better, because it will inevitably take time. It definitely will not happen overnight, and it will require a lot of effort and energy. And if you're younger watching this, as you get older, you have more responsibilities. You might have a
Mhm.
mortgage, you might have children, you might have a partner that you need to take care of, a family you need to take care of. So if you're listening to this and you're on the younger side of things, the sooner that you do this, the better, because the older you get, the more risky it becomes and the more difficult it becomes. And the number one thing that you don't want to have is regret in your later 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, as you're getting older, because you just didn't take the chance. You just
Mhm.
didn't take the leap, right? I would be, I would just be so angry if I just didn't take the leap. And I'm very happy that my mentor gave me that push, my first mentor, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here now. And even though the program sucked, that push completely changed my life. And that's well worth $7,500 at the end of the day. The value of the program wasn't great, but that conversation
Mhm.
truly did change my life. And if that guy didn't bump me forward, I wouldn't be here talking to you and doing the stuff that I do. So I think those are all great points. Couple final things I want to finish on. Um, how does your family feel about all this? You mentioned a little bit how they're a little bit more positive about things now. Like what are their thoughts on it? Do they know much about what you do? All that type of stuff.
Um, they know. I guess a summary of what I do. It's a little bit hard to explain. Like I'm sure it is for most parents. Most parents. Um, I don't know if they. I don't know if they think I'm scamming people. They probably think like some of the people I'm selling to. They're going like, "What the heck? He's 60 years old. Why? How is he going to learn how to trade financial markets?" So maybe
Mm,
some of their limiting beliefs are coming off on some of the people I'm working with. Um, but other than that, it's pretty positive now. Like they're definitely proud of me because obviously I just had blind faith in myself that this was going to work. I didn't listen to any outside noise, just kept going at this till it was going to work. And now that I've, like I said earlier, made $2,200 in one day, $2,900 another day, they're kind of going, well, like what the heck? Like that's
mm.
pretty impressive. So from where it was only 3 months ago to where it is now is complete polar opposite. And um, now their concerns are about me traveling and riding scooters without a helmet and all the parenthood stuff. So they've got different concerns now, but um, the actual online space and me making money online, they believe in it now and they know it's real.
Better problems, better problems. And
Exactly.
I was going to ask, can you imagine going back to a regular job now?
No, no. And so I because of my financial literacy and what I come to learn through that 1 year period of studying it,
Yeah.
I knew I had to do this and go the non-traditional route and build a business because I want to build wealth and be as rich as I can possibly get. That's my goals. So I
Hmm.
knew I had to do this, and it was kind of the only path to go down. But yes, now that I sit at a laptop, I work from home. There's no way I could go back to a normal job and be told when to have smoko, what I have to do. I didn't clean something good enough or didn't shovel something fast enough. Yeah, I could not go back to that ever again.
It's kind of like taking the red pill, right?
Yeah.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it's like
Mhm.
going back to a passive aggressive boss or someone that's just, again, has so much control over you, not having flexibility, only have 2 weeks of leave a year, everything else that's involved. Brown nosing bosses above you to move up in corporate. I know a couple of people watching this might have experienced that. So once you see what's possible, it's literally impossible to go back. There's nothing else you can do. It's a blessing and a
Yeah.
curse in a way. But if you've got what it takes to make it in the first place, it's pretty much impossible to go back.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think back to my boss I had when I was working as a labourer. He's a bit of
Mm.
a, can we swear on this channel? No,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
he was a bit of a fuckhead. So I think back to times when obviously he was saying what he would say to me because I didn't do something good enough, or didn't do something his way. And obviously at that time I just accepted it because all I wanted was my $33 an hour because my goals were so important, more important than an argument. But now I think back
Mm.
and I'm just like, why didn't I just tell him to fuck off? He was being an absolute dickhead. So
Yeah.
yeah, I look back now and I wouldn't be able to, if someone spoke to me like that today, I'd just tell them, fuck
Couldn't
off.
take it. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I couldn't
yeah.
agree more. I remember the exact same comments I got from my manager working at Bunnings. I think probably the biggest moment that hit for me was when she ran over to me and she said, she talked to me like a child. And I was like,
Hmm.
are you serious? Like this is what I'm doing. Like this is what the rest of my life could be. This is Bunnings, but like what happens in corporate? Like if I go that route, it's like I could not even fathom that. And once you experience the freedom that making money online provides, your toleration for bullshit just is so low. And
Hmm.
that goes for people in your life, that goes for business, this goes for people that you deal with in business, everything involved. And so if we're going to finish on one final note, is there any like one final comment that you wanted to share with the guys that are watching this, just in general? Any final notes?
Any final notes? I think just going back to your point earlier, which I didn't touch on, if you are a young guy or girl out there, I'm only 21. If you're, 18 to 25, really, you don't have kids, you don't have mortgages, you don't have high overheads. Like this is the time to take the plunge and just go for it because in 5 years' time, you're not going to have the same freedom you do now to take risks as such because chances are you probably do have a partner. Chances are you probably do have kids. You do have the mortgage. You do have locations you are tied to. So yeah, just if you're a young guy watching this who's hungry, who's had success in other areas of their life in sport and stuff like that, and you want to make money online, just do it. There's never going to be a better time than now. And if you don't do this as well, when you're 25, when you're 30, when you're 35, and you're stuck in that same job or that same cycle, you will regret it.
Great words, great advice, and I'd agree on every single point there. So, guys, hopefully you enjoy that interview with Reese. I know it's just again another inspiring story because I know a lot of people love to see these interviews because you get to see real people who are actually doing it, unfiltered, relatively raw conversations. So hopefully you guys got a lot of value from it. Hopefully you're inspired. And as always, if you want to be like Reese, if you want to be like all the other case studies in the channel, there'll be a link down in the description box to fill in a type form and see if you can chat to me and the team about possibly getting you inside the RSA and helping you with the same transformation that he's done, that I've done for the better part of the last 5 years. And of course, put some effort into it. Don't put some shitty answer like I want to do sales. Like actually put some effort into your application because I do turn away people every single week who I don't think will be a fit. The reason we get such great results is because I work with the right people, right? If you feel like you're like Reese, if you feel like you're like the other cases in the channel and you're somewhat similar, well, then I'm sure that you'll get great results. But we need to have that conversation first about seeing if you are the type of person to do so, because I'm not going to work with someone who I don't think I can get results with. So if you want to get the similar and same transformation, you know where to find me and the team. And yeah, guys, I guess we'll see you in the next interview.